Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Shouting into the Void. We may have some technical issues today, just putting that out there right away, because already Zoom's telling us the internet's unstable. So we'll play along.
So it's my life, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. But it's fine if we've lasted this long. This is the weekly video series where myself and Liam, we go through Doctor Who, specifically modern Doctor Who from 2005. We've been watching series 1, we've been watching series 2, series 3, and now we've basically finished series 4 because we are on episode, I've got to go all the way back through my notes, too many notes this time. Episode 12, Stolen Earth. The first part of the two-part finale, although you could class Turn Left as the first part. Either way, we're into the real crux of the finale now. This episode sees the Doctor and Donna conveniently left behind when the Earth gets taken away. But who's left to figure out what's going on? Everyone.
Literally
everyone is here.
Everyone in the world you've ever met.
We've got Rose, we've got Martha, we have Captain Jack, we have Sarah Jane, we have Ianto, we have Gwen, we have Luke, Sarah Jane's son, we have Martha's mum, we have Wilf, we have Sylvia, we have Harriet Jones. I think that's it for returning characters. We have Davros, I guess he's a returning character
until next week.
Hey, he's definitely not going to be not be coming back after next week. You know, I'm sure he'll stick around, you know, in 10 years after the episode. Either way, everyone is back, everyone is here, because it's massive, this one. Basically all this episode is Daleks have stolen Earth to do something.
Yes,
that's it really, isn't it? And everyone's trying to figure out how to get the Doctor involved, and then just as the Doctor gets involved, we end the episode. So not much else to go on, but I think personally it does it very well. I think it definitely kept me entertained and intrigued. I think there's enough in there to hold the episode. However, I don't. If this is your first Doctor Who episode, first of all, what are you doing watching a series finale to start with? But you would be very confused. I think you would have absolutely no idea what was going on. But I think, as we mentioned before, you know, doing it in series 4, people are either with it at this point or they're not. And I think it does it very well. What did you think of the episode?
I also think they do it very well. I enjoyed it very much. It was good. Thanks for watching. See you next week. But yeah, I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. Very entertaining. You know, a real celebration of the era thus far. If we didn't already know that it was the end by this point, you certainly, I think, would get the sense like, oh, wow, everyone's back. Okay, it's the Smash Brothers of Doctor Who. Everyone is here. And yeah, I really enjoyed what they did with a lot of characters to juggle. I think this episode does it a lot better than Journey's End ends up doing, but that's a problem for next week. But yeah, I think everyone kind of has a good moment or two to shine in this one. You know, there's a lot of tension running through it. You kind of feel the stakes of it, I think, for the most part. I think the Doctor and Donna's kind of side story could have easily been really boring, but I don't think it was. I think it was just as enjoyable as the rest of the stuff for me personally. So that was great. And that was kind of a worry, like, oh, they just get all the plot stuff and everyone else has to deal with the Daleks. Like, it's going to be like, oh, I'll get back to the Daleks now. But I actually enjoyed a lot of their stuff as well. Didn't understand it, but I enjoyed it. I think it was a really great kind of first part / second part, depending on if you have the wrong view and think it's the second part. But yeah, and then obviously, you know, the Daleks are back, introducing Davros to people for the first time if they didn't watch a classic series, which is fun. Dalek Khan is back, of course, fan favorite. And one hell of an ending to set up, you know, the world being taken by storm in between this episode airing and the next one, wondering what on earth is going on, which is very much ingrained into my memory, that kind of slice of time. You know, seeing all the adverts for this one and this whole kind of finale as a whole. So there's definitely a lot of nostalgia for it anyway, which probably does influence things, let's not lie. But I still think as a standalone episode, as a standalone first part, and as someone who did watch series 1 to 3 and 4 thus far, really, really good stuff. A celebration, but I think still a good story in its own right.
Yeah, I think you
so
can
far,
definitely. Oh yes, yes. I think you can definitely say that this finale does feel like it could be the end of the show if they fancied just to not make any more after this. It could be this. And then looking ahead to end of time, you kind of get the feeling that they're tacked on to this, because you would have thought that maybe if they knew what they were doing, they'd maybe swapped them around a little bit and had this big event for David's finale, but never mind. That's the changing scape of television landscape for you. But we'll go on to what we usually do every week. We talk negatives and positives. We always start with the positives. We aim to have 3 each. I've got 3 main ones and some little ones on the side, as I think I always do.
Yeah, I do as well this time.
Nice. We'll start with you then. We'll see how well we line up this week. What is your first positive?
My first positive is Martha's mum returning. No, it's not. Same. No. My first positive is the crossover with Torchwood and Surgeon Adventures. Just that whole idea. What a concept! What a time to be alive! What a time to be a fan of all 3 of them, of all of Doctor Who that I'd seen, all of Sarah Jane Adventures that I'd seen, the 4 episodes of Torchwood I'd probably been allowed to watch at this point. It was great. So yeah, it was quite the moment to kind of see it all come together like this. And there's a real buzz about just seeing like, oh, Gwen and Yanta are in Doctor Who. Like, this is crazy. I mean, Gwen's technically been Doctor Who before, the actress anyway, but it's cool.
I'm sure they won't reference that.
They definitely won't in a joke that 96% of people watch will be like, what? That's a bit weird. But yeah, that was good. And Luke's in Doctor Who and he mentioned Maria and he mentioned Clyde. Oh,
didn't want to get them in there. That's too many people.
Tosh and Owen. Oh no, they just died. So yeah, I really did enjoy that aspect of things, seeing them all kind of interacting. They kind of, it's the episode for the companions more than the Doctor, I think, this one. It's very much kind of seeing lots of faces cross over, and then Rose is like, I'm here too, remember me, please, let me in. She's just shaking the laptop screen, let me in. But yeah, I think it's so cool to kind of see, it's expanded universe at this point with all the spin-off stuff combine to tell one story. Probably an absolute nightmare to kind of organize everyone and to kind of juggle all those characters. So I think the fact that at least with the Stolt Nurse case, I think it does it pretty damn successfully. Is definitely something to be applauded. Just some, technical achievement as it is, and lining up all those schedules and stuff. But yeah, it was great to kind of get, Captain Jack and Sarah Jane interacting, a few things like that. And there's even more to come in the next one with Mickey and Jackie in the mix as well. And of course, popular character Francine Jones is back. So, it's the 10 out of 10, really. Can't ask for anything more. But yeah, it was just great to catch up with everyone and really, really sell the impact of the Daleks being the villains, because so many of them recognize it. And to see Sarah Jane fight the Daleks again in Doctor Who, which hadn't happened for decades at that point, which was great fun. Sadly, never happens again. But that's very sad, and that's for another occasion. But yeah, it was great to kind of... for people who may not be able to watch the Sarah Jane Adventures stuff, my dad had no fucking clue who Luke was when he watched it. He's like, who the hell's that? I was like, he's grown by aliens, it's fine.
Squid aliens, it's fine.
Yeah, and he kind of casually watched Torchwood, so I think he kind of knew who Gwen and Yans were a bit. But I don't think it necessarily takes too much away, per se. Is it a bit alienating for an adult kind of show and a children's show to come into the main show? Potentially, but I've seen them all, so I don't care. It's a real kind of fun punch the air moment to be a fan, and I like that it just properly lead into it and be like, it's great.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the only thing that would have made this better is if Leo was involved, but unfortunately...
I was going to say that. When Francie turned up, I was like, I can't believe they did not get Richard Yates back for this episode.
He would have definitely come in for 2 seconds. Just have him in
the
corner. It
would have been great if he was in this. He had more screen time in this one episode than they did in all the series 3.
Oh, never mind. But my first positive does sort of follow on to yours. It's just the cast in general.
Mm-hmm.
I just think to be able to pull from this, like, this big cast of characters that they've established, not just in the main show, but in their own shows. I think they definitely knew, I say which show was more popular, because I feel that Gwen and Ianto get more to do in this than Luke does. So maybe that's because Torchwood was more popular. Yeah, well, yeah. Maybe because Torchwood was more popular, or because he wasn't that good of an actor at this point. They might have thought they'd go for the... Am I wrong? No. So maybe they went, that's why they went that route. But yeah, just to have all this, if you've seen everything, and I think most people that were fans of Doctor Who, like even us, we probably would have seen a fair bit of Torchwood, even though we weren't allowed, or it wasn't aimed at us. We would have seen a bit of it. And I feel that this is really the peak of Doctor Who's powers, as a property, and it's shown in the fact that they can bring in 3 different shows together and take from this massive cast, and there is still more to come next week. And to draw on previous things that have happened in the show, with Harriet Jones, the Mr. Copper Foundation, all that kind of thing. I think it really just shows that the power this had on general audiences, that they didn't have the fear of being like, oh, but we might need to really explain where Luke's come from, or we might need to say why Jack's at this weird base in underground Cardiff. They didn't need to. They didn't feel the need to. There's a line that explains that Luke's Sarah Jane's son, but that's about it.
There's simply no time.
No, there isn't. But I think it helps that Doctor Who had that. If this was a show that wasn't seen by as many people as it was, they might not have risked doing this, but because of the cultural, thing that it was, and just I think everyone in this episode, and probably the next one, to be fair, absolutely relishes being in the main show and being a prime character.
I can't imagine how exciting it would have been to get that call bit like, you're going to be
I'll come in
character.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Okay. Sorry, Luke, you work with no one new.
But
you are going to be in it.
But that's it, like, especially because, the character, I don't know if there probably wasn't anything in the contracts of the spin-off shows saying you'll get to go in Doctor Who. It's probably just a thing they went, probably. Oh, well, we might as well take them and do something with it. And I think they used very well. I think, especially when they're figuring out how to call the Doctor, I think the way they all work together, from Harriet Jones basing it to Mr. Smith and Sarah Jane boosting the signal to Torchwood, then taking over and helping get out. I think it's good storytelling as well as good as a good cast and good acting performances throughout, and that kind of ties into my second one as well, to be fair, which is the scale of the whole thing. It's absolutely insane, from the threat to the 3 shows to the cast members to the almost universe-spanning conflict that is about to begin because of this one single event that, thank God, the Doctor just happened to be on planet Earth to figure out what was going wrong.
Thank God it took Earth last, eh?
I know, right? God, or did it take them all at the same time? But out of time.
Whoa.
We'll never know.
It doesn't matter. They're gone.
Yeah, basically.
Clom is gone. It won't Clom.
But yes, annoyingly, that was my first and second. So what is your second and third?
Okay. My second is the Dalek reveal scene, the exterminate. Oh, chills. I mean, they say exterminate way too long, but seeing everyone's reactions to it, I'm like, holy shit. The way Jack's just like, well, we're dead. I'm like, oh no.
Yep.
Sarah Jane, just seeing her in tears, hearing those voices again for the first time in God knows how long. I'm like, oh my God. By that point, I haven't even seen her face the Daleks in some old stuff yet. But you just kind of feel like, oh damn, she knows who they are, and she knows Davros and everything. Like, oh shit. so I just love seeing that, and the way it's revealed with like, it's such an odd place, I think, to start with. Like we first hear it through Mr. Smith and stuff, because I don't think if you're a fan of just Doctor Who in general, you might not expect like the Sarah J. Ventures characters to be like the beacon of that scene. Some people aren't going to be that familiar with Sarah J and stuff. So the fact that they start off with the Daleks, I think that kind of maybe throws you through a loophole. You think if anyone's going to find out it's the Daleks first, it's going to be the Doctor and Donna probably, or Rose. So when that all comes through and then they just cut to everyone, so good. I mean, of course it's the Daleks because they were in all the adverts, but what an amazing reveal for them. And yeah, I always get chills every time I watch that scene, and whenever it cuts to Sarah Jane in particular, it's so good. So yeah, there's a lot of great Dalek entrances, because the Army of Ghosts cliffhanger is one of my favorite cliffhangers ever. But this is kind of, even when it's the Daleks, at least Army of Ghosts, it was a surprise that the Daleks are in it. Yeah. With this, it was pre-announced and everything, because they were like, oh, Davros is back as well. But yeah, just the fact that even when and it still hits like that, I think it's incredibly impressive. And yeah. I love that sequence so much.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think it to show the reaction of like everybody is having the same thing, like, because everyone, at least the three main pillars of each group, Martha, Jack, Sarah Jane, they've all had pretty bad personal experiences with
Jack was killed by the Daleks.
Yeah, Jack was killed by a Dalek, and watched like a whole Earth get destroyed by some Dalek fleets.
Whoopsie.
Sarah Jane obviously was there when the Daleks were first created, and she's got that whole backstory with them. Martha's probably the one that has least of a reaction. Well, has less of a reason, because all she sees is some pig slaves, and that's about it. She only sees
a guy with 6 sticks on his head.
Yeah, exactly. So she's probably.
But she knows what it means. She knows what it means to the Doctor, I guess.
Yes,
so that's why it shakes her.
She knows about the fear, and I'm sure there's some comics or audios or books where everyone has other interactions with them anyway. Although the only thing that I want to point about that scene is that Ianto has like no reaction. I'm like, come on, mate.
I know
you were at Torchwood. They established you were at Torchwood.
Yeah, I felt like he was just like distracted. And he forgot he was in the shot. He probably got told he was in shot. He was just like, Paul O'Grady, is he still on?
Yeah, basically. Because I mean, at least Gwen has the excuse of
she's like, oh, what's that?
She's not encountered the Daleks before.
She has like an actual reaction to like the voice starting at least. The answer just like dead. Like, oh no, and that's a bit early, Ianto.
Not yet.
Early.
Not yet. But yeah, and also I do really like the scene linked to that where like the big saucer like comes over the street.
Saucer? I barely know her.
Comes over the street. I really like that visual, and the really cliche alien invasion visuals. I likened it to Independence Day, because it's literally what happens.
Yeah, I also like all like these epic locations where everyone's finding out, and then it just cuts to Rose in this shitty little shop. It's like this little screen, like, oh no.
Oh, I love it. But yes, so what is your third positive then? Because I did both mine.
My third positive, let's find out. I've forgotten mine, but yes, Harriet Jones.
Oh, interesting.
The Queen is back. And also, I'm going to call it a resolution to her character. I know Russell, for him canonically, she's still alive because Trapdoor. No, she's dead.
No, lives. She lives.
I love that they brought her back into it. I love that they continued the "yes, we know who you are" joke to the bitter end. That's one of the last things she ever hears. Is that she's like, oh, for God's sake. But yeah, I love how they brought her back into it. I'm like, see, bitches, I was right. The Doctor's not here.
Couldn't get her on set on the same day as everyone else, but they managed to get her in the episode at least.
No, I doubt any of these guys really interact that much. But she's like, I'm the backbone of this household. I'm going to make this subwave network, and I'm going to reference this character a lot of people have forgotten, but it's cool anyway because of the actor's interview. And yeah, I just really like that she stepped up when the Doctor wasn't there. She still stands by her actions in the Christmas invasion after all that time. She's kind of linking everyone together. She's actually like doing something about it. Even when people like Jack and Sarah Jane had just given up, she was there still fighting little Harriet Jones, former Prime Minister, still keeping her little ID thing. Awesome.
With her old picture on it from the series 1 2 part.
Yeah, they didn't get a new prop in, which is nice. And yeah, she has a lovely little home that's unfortunately destroyed. But yeah, I just really like how they kind of brought that to a conclusion by having her come back into it and give her life to try and stop the Daleks. I love her final lines being like, "Oh, you know nothing of any human, that'll be your downfall." That's such a good last line. Killer, if you would say, but that's probably in poor taste because she does. But yeah, I always enjoyed Harriet Jones anyway. You know, she was wrongfully deposed in the Griffiths invasion, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But it was cool to kind of be like, oh yeah, you know, she, if people may not have liked what she did in the Griffiths invasion, I think this is some kind of redemption in a sense for her. So like they do tie that up neatly. And given some fun facts, it wasn't going to be her. So stay tuned to find out who it was going to be. So
Clive.
I liked it even more. Like,
Clive from series 1. Yeah.
Sure, it was Clive. That would have been that generally I would have loved that. That's the only thing that would have been better than Harriet Jones. But yeah, you know, the fact that it may not have even have happened makes me appreciate it even more. I don't know. I think it's such a cool end to the character, and it's nice to all these characters that are coming back for someone to actually die is nice. So yeah, I thought that was quite an impactful moment. And in part 1 as well, like, oh damn, they're getting rid of people in part 1.
Yeah.
What are they going to do in part 2? I mean, nothing. But we didn't know that at the time.
No.
So yeah, I really enjoyed her role and things.
I mean, she's not dead though, so didn't really die.
Apparently she's not dead. So ignore my praise.
Yeah,
it's a terrible episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I also like the 4 beeps when she like launches a subwave. I'm like, that's nice. That's another cool little reference that you can argue that
she's manipulating them all. she's taken their minds over.
No, that this obviously technology was like based on the Saxon network and things like that. I quite like all that links in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always very, especially because it's like a character you never think you're going to see again in the show after Christmas Invasion. I mean, there's no reason why she couldn't reappear again, but you know,
she's not necessarily needed.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
she's so good. Even the computer in Donna's home works for some reason. She doesn't even see her as a contact. That would have been what annoyed me about that is that would have been if Rose had got that working somehow. Like some technobabble. That'd been such a great way of explaining why she may have turned up on some monitors earlier in the season.
Yes.
But again, nothing. You get nothing. You lose.
Nothing yet. It's fine. We'll wait until the end of next 2-part, and then if that's not explained, then I'm gonna.
That's a problem for journeys.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you could argue that Harriet Jones used, Rose used that system, but she has no camera for the webcam, so it doesn't make sense. All they needed was a webcam.
And she was sat well away from it. It just turned it on.
Anyway, never mind.
She could have just said, like, Harry could have just said, like, oh, I'll try something else. But she's like, the third contact has trouble getting through and it's Martha. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah. Yay.
Probably the character Francine Jones.
That's who she actually contacted. Not even
punch the air return.
Just wanted Francine.
Yeah.
Sorry, Martha, not you.
They go to book club together or something.
Yeah, that's it. They're literally neighbours. That's what it was.
They just live right next door. That'd been so like a big reveal. Like they all just live next door to each other. Like, all this time, how about that? The doctor doesn't actually just stumble into new companions. He just goes to the next household every time.
He just moves along every time.
That's why they're all from London, because he just picks them off the
makes
strange
sense
street.
Now. But yeah, this was basically COVID pandemic filming before COVID pandemic filming was a necessity, in that they're all on cameras, and the original staged, if you will, was this scene. And yeah, I think it's great. It is definitely one of those moments that I think a lot of fans remember, is just that whole call with everyone's getting back in contact and that kind of stuff. And it's great. I do really like it.
It's one of those I can't believe this is real moments. It's really fun.
Yeah, literally. However, what I can believe is real, and what is my third positive, is the Supreme Dalek design.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I think he looks excellent. I think he looks amazing. I think I just Doctor Who needs to do more like weird one-off Daleks. We had a good run in Russell T Davies with the Emperor Dalek and the Supreme Dalek and Dalek Sec Human Hybrid. They're quite interesting designs and interesting twists. I know Moffat tried it with the Paradigm Daleks, but I think his issue there was to try and reinvent the whole Dalek design rather than just having. I know he's since like backtracked, and it's now they are like leaders of separate bronze Daleks or whatever.
He wanted to do his own thing with his own era, and the fans told him no.
Yeah,
so
basically.
he went back to the
So he went, okay, fine.
props.
But I really like this one. I think it's just a striking image, that Dalek. He looks even bring bright red.
I like the
menacing.
additional like things on him.
Yeah, he's got like the ones that come out, and then he's got three. He's got a third like light at the back, I think it is.
Yeah.
I just think he looks great. You can tell he's immediately.
We need more color variants for Daleks for sure.
Yes, sure. Just don't make them the whole thing. That's the problem. Don't make them yellow.
I'm going to stand on record. I like the Victory of the Daleks, and I think they should have stayed.
I don't mind how they.
I admit, I don't like the yellow. I don't like the orange. Okay. But I genuinely think the white, red, and blue look fantastic.
Yeah, I will agree. I will agree. And I do want to see them more. But
I want to bring back the silver Daleks with the blue domes from the classic series.
Yeah, and great. I want to bring back the special weapons Dalek as well. I think he's
I love that design.
But that's what I mean. Like, by all means keep the generic drone Dalek design because it's classic, everyone recognizes it. But have these special individual Daleks. You know, that's why even Dalek Sec was like a standout when he first appeared. It's like, oh, that's different, that's new. All of them are memorable, and they all help the episode that they're in. And I don't think the Supreme Dalek's any different here. And I guess one of my outside positives as well is Davros. He's similarly been slightly redesigned, and he looks great, and he's a standout in. I mean, he doesn't look great, but he's a standout in the episode.
He's an incredibly ugly person.
So I really like both of those designs. I think they really give this episode a different type of. It's a bit more than just a generic Dalek invasion. It feels like there's some weight behind it.
That's what gives it the scale, I think. That yes. Like a new leader, yeah.
Yeah, because it feels like it's the Emperor Dalek again that's coming and taking over. It feels like this is the whole Dalek fleet is here. Which maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It's, you know, maybe some will fall through time and decide to invade World War II England. Who knows? Maybe they will always survive. Maybe they don't. But yeah, I just think I always love it when the Daleks look slightly different, or where they have like a special Dalek. Even in series 1 finale, where they had the one with like the flamethrower, the door cutter. Again, that's something that a lot of people think about and a lot of people remember because it's different and it's unique. If you make all of the Daleks uniquely the same by making new ones, it again takes away a little bit of the point.
Like getting rid of the plungers.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I do really like them too. So what is your sort of additional positives? Davros being one of them?
Davros is one of them, yes. I love Davros. He's one of my favourite villains. I think I talked about that briefly last week. But yeah, I love his design. I think Julian Breach is fantastic. He's probably going to be one of my positives in the next one, but I just didn't feel there was enough Davros in this one to justify a whole slot for him. So I thought I'd shout him out anyway because Davros is great. And then obviously the cliffhanger is kind of a cultural reset. That's what the kids say, right? It's a cultural reset.
That, yeah.
I say wrinkles appearing visibly on my face. Yeah, you know, I mean, the resolution, you can discuss that till the cows come home. But I think, you know, that moment, like when it ends like that, people were talking about it was on the news, like what the hell's going on? You know, it's one hell of a cliffhanger to end things off on.
Yeah.
And also one tiny little moment that I really, really love is when Donna comforts the Doctor when he first hears Davros's voice again. That little moment, she's like, "It's okay, we're safe in the TARDIS." That's one of my favorite Donna moments, and I think it goes massively underappreciated. So I just love that she's like trying to comfort him, make him feel better because she can see how like shaken and scared he is by that. Then he goes, "Bye." But still, it's fine. It's just the little moments like that, you know, little character stuff. And again, when there's a wave of so many returning characters and so many companions who kind of have, I guess, the main plot line over the Doctor and Donna in this one, the fact that they still have some nice moments like that, I thought would be good to shout out because I love that little moment with Donna.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So my sort of additional one other than Davros is the reunion between Ten and Rose, or at least the, you know, cut-off reunion between Ten and Rose. I just think
it reunited. But...
It's very wholesome, and me at the time loved it. I think even now, with my feelings towards Rose, I still find it very, very wholesome and
good for her.
Yeah, basically, and the twist the twist that a Dalek just comes out of nowhere and shoots her, I think
I
is
love
great.
the shift in music when the Dalek shows up.
Yeah.
I love it's like, da, 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 da.
Oh no! Oh no! What's going on? No, wait.
Because I think deep down we all know something's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
So when it actually does, we're like, oh,
yeah,
you're just quite invested in it. But
yes.
I wish they had the guts for that Dalek to just shoot Rose dead. That would have been so ballsy.
That would have been the better
option. She just drops dead.
No. Oh,
that Dalek would have been a legend if he didn't die 5 seconds later.
Oh,
poor guy. He's like, yes, finally someone got him, and then.
But yeah, I think the whole reunion scene's great. Even all the way down to the regeneration, where Jack's like, Rose, you know what the hell's coming? You need to get out of the way. And Donna's like, the fuck is happening here? Somebody please tell me.
Someone crafts some medicine like Animal Crossing quickly.
My
villager is sick.
And I think I would love, and Capaldi did this in his final series, I would just love for one of these regeneration fake outs to not be a fake out. I think that's the one thing that Doctor Who is yet to do, is to just regenerate in the middle of a series without. So I know it's tricky to do all that in the middle of a series without it leaking, but I think it would be great to just do something like that where someone is the Doctor for like half a series, or they don't announce that the Doctor's leaving and they do it halfway through the series and someone new comes in. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen, especially
they did do it in the classic series.
Yeah.
Hartnell left a bit before the end, and Peter Davison left a bit before the end of the series as well. So Colin had an extra couple of bits.
Well, that was
terrible stories he got given. But still.
Well, yeah. Well, there you go then. Even more reason why they should redo them now. But
it'd be great.
I think I would love to see it.
The internet as it is, I don't know if it's possible anymore, but it would be great if they could maybe give it a go.
Yeah, which is a shame, but I still like a regeneration fake out. I still think they're great. Because they do add like the sense of, oh my god, even though you pretty much know they're not going to leave, you're still like, oh my god, but what if they do?
Yeah,
it's
that reminder that he's an alien that I think some people forget sometimes. So I do like that,
which is great. So now, although we've talked about some positives, we do have to talk about some negatives. I only have 4, one more than the 3. A few.
I've got 7. one of them I would have mentioned is the subwave network somehow working for Rose and Wilson on that screen. So a lot of them are nitpicky and just things I noticed, but they're not like main ones. Even my main ones, there's only like, actually no, they're my problems. It doesn't matter. Let's just start.
All right. Yeah, mine are mainly nitpicky. But the first one, sorry, it's Rose.
Oh.
From last week's, the high of highs last week to just the crashing
now she's
back
in
down
character.
to her. Yeah. Gosh, I at the start of the episode, it's still like, hey, she could be cool when she comes in and she's like threatens the milkman.
She doesn't threaten the milkman.
She cocks a gun right in front of him. Like, oh.
I mean, that's true. Yes. Why does she do that?
Dramatic effect. I think that's fine. It could have gone all right there. But then, I mean, she absolutely butchers the line telling the people to leave the shop, which I think is ridiculous. I wrote it down. So I can find it. It's you can put that stuff down or run for your lives. So if that implies if you put the stuff down, she's gonna kill you. You can still rob the shop.
Will shoot you.
You can rob the shop, but you have to take what you've got now. You can't keep going. But and then they leave the stuff anyway, because obviously she needs a computer. They leave the stuff. So did she kill them? Are they dead? They must be dead. That's what she said. She said she'd kill them.
They died. They died.
But that's a very nitpicky thing. My problem with Rose as a whole is she's a bitch. In this episode especially.
Okay.
It's just I think she kills the Dalek for Wilf and Sylvia, which is great. But then she's also very blunt with them, very like she's clearly just using them to get in touch with the Doctor, and then she just leaves them and she's like, bye, see you later, bye.
Yeah, I don't blame her for treating Sylvia like that, but Wilf, that is a crime.
Yeah, and then like she, as soon as she's not seen, as soon as Donna realizes she's, Donna, they can't get in touch with her. She's like, oh, guess nobody else can help. You know Jack is alive. Does she know Jack's alive?
She would have seen him on the thing.
Oh, would they? Yeah, would they? Oh no, because the subway network came in before that. So to be fair, I stand corrected. She doesn't know who else to go to. She only knows of Don. No, she must do because she.
She does, because she's like, who's she? It's like she sees them all on the screen.
Yeah. But before that, she's like, oh, without you and without Donna, there's no hope of getting in touch with the doctor. And then the screen comes alive and all that kind of stuff. So I was thinking, oh, maybe, why couldn't she just go see Jack? Oh, she doesn't know Jack's alive. However, in Turn Left, she's like, oh yeah, Captain Jack's
there. I don't think she even knew he was dead. Yeah.
I think there is a bit of a reference next week. Because doesn't he get like incinerated?
Yeah, because she doesn't know. Oh. She doesn't know he can't die.
Yeah.
So she just thinks he's alive.
So I guess she must just assume he's mortal but living on Earth.
Yeah.
Either way, she probably knows that he exists and he is on Earth. So go to him. You know he has a load of alien tech that could probably help you, and he's probably the best bet to try and get in contact with other people that can know the Doctor. Unlike Wilf, to be fair, an old man and an old woman who were just sat in their house with a paintball gun and a bat, they're not going to help you.
And one of them crying onto the other shoulder.
Right. Even so, and she also knows about Sarah Jane. She's met Sarah Jane. You could do the same there. So I think she's just very pessimistic, and she gives up very easily. And
it's not a doctor. She doesn't want to know. She doesn't care.
Yeah, basically. And then obviously there's the whole, I was here first. It's like everyone's here, everyone but me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, just stop. She's so self-centered in this episode. I don't think she's as bad.
Me.
Yeah, yes, and that's even worse. When she like properly lifts up, I'm like, just stop. Yeah, which is a shame. It's just.
It should have cut to her climbing onto the roof, like
yeah, basically. Come on, please. But yeah, I think it's a shame because she was so like independent and really smart in Turn Left. But then this one, she feels like, well, my first opportunity is gone. I give up. Oh, hey, maybe I can find the Doctor. I need to see him first before anyone else. That's it. I just think it's just unnecessary. Maybe she'll get better in next week. I don't know, but I think it's very much a case of she's the fans, in the fact that the fans want them to reunite and they want it to get to the reunion quicker, which is why she's given the emphasis to sort of get there quicker. Fine, but I just don't like it. Sorry, Rose. Anyway, your first negative is what?
Yes, shocking everyone who watches. It can't be. It can't be. That's impossible. That's impossible. Look at the sky. Look at the sky. And then Jack's like, I'm going to find the Doctor. And then the very next scene, Sarah Jane's like, I'm sorry, I have to find the Doctor. And then the very next scene is Rose like, wish me luck, I'm going to go find the Doctor. It's the same scene. It drives me mad. And I hate that I've noticed this. Why did you make us do this? But yeah, it's just, I know it's a bugbear. I know it's probably just me, but it just takes me out of it. And you could have just done something else. It's fine like once or twice, but the fact that it's the same thing again, like 3 or 4 times within the same episode as well. Like, this isn't Midnight. You wrote that a couple of weeks ago where everyone says the same things.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, but come on, actually get on with stuff now. I know it's how it builds tension for people. I guess that's how he likes to do it. Fair enough. But when you just do that every single time, I'm like, please do something different with your writing. So yeah, I just not a fan. At least have them say something a bit different. And sometimes they do, but a lot of them just say the same thing again. I'm sure deadlines are tough and you just need to get a page out, and having all the characters say it can't be like 2 pages straight away. But yeah, it's quite irritating for me as a viewing experience to just be like, wow, like 5 minutes of this is just characters saying the same line. Yeah. It's just a bit like,
Yeah, I think your point is fair. I think for me, what lets it slide is that they're saying it. They're not all saying it to each other at the same time. I feel they're saying it to different people in different situations. which I think is a little bit
But they're
better
all
than...
saying it to the audience at the same time,
Yeah, no, I know.
of
But
which I am one of them.
yes, yeah, yeah. But I mean,
In
I'd rather...
universe, it makes sense, but
Yeah, yeah,
the way it's portrayed as a TV show, I'm like, this is aggravating.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, I'd rather them say that than explain what they're seeing and we not see it. I think is better. Look, there are Daleks in the sky. Everyone says that, and then they cut away and there's
Well,
Daleks.
there was an instance of that as well.
Yay!
I wasn't going to bring it up, but it's when Jack immediately teleports away, and then the base immediately explodes, and it's like exterminate, and Gwen's like, they're here. Really? Oh, I hadn't noticed that, Gwen. Thank you. Thank God you're in charge.
Yeah, I think that one. Yeah, I think that one's fair enough. That one's a ridiculous line. That is just unnecessary.
At least that's only once.
Yeah, yeah. Could be worse. Could be a whole 3 series worth of people doing that.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, eventually. I mean, we've already discussed part of it. You know, if you want to go back through and look at some other episodes.
That's true. Yeah.
That's true. Bro, so my second negative, and now we're getting into the nitpicks, is the Shadow Proclamation preparing to declare war across the universe. Against what? I don't get it.
They don't even know what the threat is, and like, let's fight them.
Yeah, it's like, but I don't even think the way it's said is I don't think they're even saying they're declaring war against people that took the planets. They're just going to declare war on any and everyone. It feels how it like everyone's just going to start attacking each other, and I feel not enough is made of that.
Yeah, the Doctor said they're space police, so I think we can probably take a guess who they would declare war on.
But... I know, but like they don't know the Daleks are behind this.
They don't.
We only know that when the Doctor gets there. So I'm like, who are you declaring war against? Are you just prepared to kill everyone to try and find it? I feel
they're the police.
I mean, yeah. I mean, but they could have done a little bit more, I think, to establish that threat, or maybe that could have been the point of the specials: is that the Doctor has to deal with the Shadow Proclamation gone rogue or something like that.
Especially because you're showing something that you've mentioned like for 4 years.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never even thought of like, I want to see that place. So just like there's just something you mentioned. So when you actually like, well, going there, like, okay, that's quite cool. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah,
and then
we don't see him again until series 8.
I think it's 9.
9 with the Snake Man.
The next Davros appearance.
It is. You're right. God, but I feel they could have done a bit more with that. This week, because like we're declaring war against everyone. That's like, okay, declare war. Bye. I'm like,
yeah. And all they can do is shout for the Doctor to stop.
yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna win.
Yeah, but I feel there could have been a bit more done with that. I feel like it's just a line in there to try and increase the stakes, just for the universe as a whole. But there's no real impact of it, especially because the Doctor doesn't instantly go in and solve the situation and then come back and say it's done. Don't declare war. But I don't know. Never mind. It would have been really cool maybe if David Tennant stayed on for another series, if they did a whole thing where the Daleks taking the planets caused almost another time war, and there'd been a lot of fighting going on, and he needs to go into these situations and defuse them, whatever. Or may even have Matt Smith do that, but I know Stephen Moffat didn't want to he wanted a clean slate, so to speak. But never mind. It's a nitpick. I do like the Shadow Proclamation are in this. I do enjoy seeing their man, the Jadoon, back. It's really cool to see what we've heard about for the past 4 years. Even if it makes them look like they are literally useless and pointless. Like most governments, am I right? Hey! Oh, very topical. But never mind. What is your second negative?
Yes. Speaking of didn't need to be there. Speaking of fake out deaths, the Martha teleport fake out death,
right? Yeah,
is completely unnecessary. I don't get why it's there. I don't know why it's such a big deal when she just comes back anyway. We all know she's not dead. She uses a teleport. She gets to her mum. Fine. Why does it need to be like setting up this big deal? Especially when they're also setting up the Osterhagen key, which is another big thing that's a secret tool to be used later. Just so many things that just like throwing. Yeah, like what is it with Martha and teleports? Like in this thing, like just whatever. So yeah, it felt very odd to me. Just I hadn't thought about it until watching it this time.
Yeah,
but it's just completely pointless subplot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say it's to give Martha something to do, but the whole point is that Martha's missing and they think she's dead, so she's not even in it.
Yeah, she's not even missing for that long.
Until she rolls back up like, hooray, we're fine. Okay, great. Exactly the same episode, and about 15 minutes later, she's alive. Why did we do that? It could have been she gets Yost the hug and key, she teleports out, and then she just ends up at Francine's. You have the same sequence of them reuniting. She's fine, and she's just there when Harriet Jones applauds that like kind of gets in contact and all of that. So yeah, it just felt a bit weird to me. It was like a very strange diversion when they could have been focusing on something else, or having Wilf shoot more Daleks with his gun or something, I don't know. Or fleshing out, exactly what the big plot is, or fleshing out the Shadow Proclamation a bit more, fleshing out the Medusa Cascade appearance, because they went there as well. It's just, again, you can deal with it, but it is a completely unnecessary thing, especially when there's so much going on. It feels weird that you didn't need it at all.
Yeah,
it changes nothing.
Yeah, it feels like they needed to get Martha from New York to London, and they needed to do it with some drama. It couldn't just be a nice, easy, thing. But
it's just another way of forcing drama that I'm like.
Yeah, I mean, I do appreciate that
the Daleks are invading. People are dying. There's drama. Basically. You've done it. Well done.
I appreciate that it shows how humans are using alien technology that had been left behind, because obviously it's Sontaran base and now it's not tested. But again, the fact that then that doesn't translate into anything post this episode, we never see them using alien tech again. Yeah. Again, it doesn't help that the next full series was literally clean slate, forget everything you knew. But even so, I do see where you're coming from. But I don't mind it as much, but I do get your point.
Yeah. I can deal with it, but it is pointless.
Yeah, fair enough. My last technically negative. Why wasn't the TARDIS taken with the planet?
Plot.
I mean, maybe they say in the next one.
I from watching it, I can kind of deal with it. What I tell myself, and I swear, look, I'm defending the episode. I like it.
Yeah.
I think because, they don't explain how they block Martha's phone, but they do say whoever they are, they're blocking the Doctor signal. I feel like maybe they just put precautions in place in case the TARDIS is
not take a TARDIS,
to leave it behind. That's what I'm like. They prepared in case the Doctor's making it. That's why they put it out a second at a time. So there's a difference there. There's something I can latch onto, which is more than I can say for a lot of things I have problems with.
I think that's.
I get it. It is very convenient.
It's fine, but I think there still needs to be a line in saying. Or even at that point, just say, we've taken the Earth, we've booted the Doctor off planet, or something like that, from the Daleks.
Especially after how dramatic the ending of Turn Left was.
Yes, exactly. Because it's like, if they didn't go back in the TARDIS, because it literally happens as soon as they step back inside. So like, if they didn't go into the TARDIS, would they have been booted off the planet along with the TARDIS, or would they have stayed on? It's just very convenient. I don't think it's necessary. You could at least have you just have them turn up and be like, oh my God, where's Earth gone? Something like that.
Yeah.
I think that
and
would
the fact
make
that
sense.
The rift in time and space also moves with Earth, so they can transmit the signal and stuff.
Wow. Isn't it implied that the Medusa Cascade is also a rift?
I have no clue.
No, I don't know.
I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know what the Medusa Cascade is.
But yeah, I just think it's very convenient. I just need a line from Dalek.
Yeah. Cut the Martha teleport fake out and explain things.
Just say our anti-Doctor whatever are working, we've blocked their signal, we've kicked him off.
It would make the Daleks look better if they have made an anti-Doctor kit at this point. Just a bunch of apples. An apple a day.
I'll come on to my last negative later on because it kind of links to that. But what is your your third negative? Your third of 10.
7, please.
Sorry.
I love Doctor Who. But yeah, I'm sensing a theme between all my negatives. Wow. I've already talked about this before. I think my frustrations with a lot of characters and their prophecies and all of that. It needlessly adds drama when things were already bad. We already do the Dalek car nonsense. It's like, the death of the most loyal companion. But
Is it because it makes people think that Rose is going to die? I assume because
exactly. It's yeah.
But there's
that's
like,
what
whoops,
it's
Donna.
about.
No, yeah.
But I'm also thinking of where it goes,
Yeah,
which is a problem for Journey's End, admittedly.
Yeah.
But there's also the Shadow Proclamation girl. I mean, the loss is yet to come. Who gives a shit? What does that mean? The Daleks are invading. Her planet's gone. Things are already bad. We don't need this added drama that just doesn't really go anywhere. Because Donna's not even going to remember her loss anyway. Like, what does that even mean? You've just made her anxious for no reason because she's going to bloody forget everything. It's just, there's so much of that. There's so many like people with prophecies and shit just to kind of add drama. I mean, we hadn't even gotten to the he will knock 4 times later yet. In a couple of episodes time. It's just they're already very good at making things dramatic and tense, and they've already done that provably in this episode thus far. It just moments like that, I'm like, you don't need this, especially because no one dies. She doesn't die.
Hey, the most faithful companion did die. Harriet Jones.
Oh my gosh, you're right. That's who they were talking about. I take it all back. Although apparently she doesn't know. Oh, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter.
The most faithful companion. That family in that house that got incinerated.
I think they should have just stuck with the most faithful companion, and then for no reason whatsoever, at the end of Journey's End, Kanan explodes.
No,
just no explanation for it. One will still die. Kanan just explodes. Luke turns into Two-Face because he's like holding on to him.
Luke's got so much shrapnel in him. Like,
and Luke becomes the villain of the Surgeon Adventures in series.
He becomes the trickster. What a twist! Oh
my god, yes, that explains so much. Oh wow, I need to write this fan fiction. Hang on, just make some notes. But it's just unnecessary dramatic stuff that, you know, arguably doesn't really pay off anyway. Especially when things are already dramatic, you know. I understand kind of like setting things up or whatever, but you're not really setting that much up. So yeah, you know, it's very nitpicky. That is my proper nitpicky one, really. Well, all of the rest of them are nitpicky from here. And yeah, it's just things like that. I'm like, I'm done with this now.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I kind of get it, but at the same time, I live for the drama, so can't really complain. So my fourth one, which is very, very nitpicky, and to be fair, might not be relevant based on what happens next week, but how were the planets taken? Not just out of space, out of time as well.
Technobabble is one of mine about how the Daleks did this and all the planets aligning themselves and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get.
I think it's a neat idea. I just don't understand it.
Yeah,
I'm sure it makes sense.
I like the fact that it would it line itself, or at least the diagram would align itself, because I assume the Daleks put them in that place, but the computer worked it out. But I just need to know how they managed to take planets out of time and space. More than anything, especially time, with, you know, like Pyrovile, Pyrovilia, the adipose planet, and that kind of stuff. You know, it's not
somehow
yeah, literally. You know, it's not like the creatures we see have fallen through time and all the planets were taken at the same time. You know, it's not like the Pyrovile turned up at Pompeii because they fell back through time, or the adipose or whatever. You know, they all happen at different times, literally. And I just want to know how they managed it. At least in Classic Who, they try and hollow out the Earth to move it. Yeah, at least that's some science I can believe. At least that gives me
bloody impressive, don't get me wrong, but how did you do it?
Yeah, and I mean, maybe they'll say next week how. I mean, they won't, but maybe they'll give an implication as to how they did it.
It's a problem for Journey's End.
It literally is. I mean, even if they say we've created technology that can move planets, I'll be like, fine. At least you've said that, you know.
You've addressed it.
But I'd rather have a shit line like that than no line.
Yeah.
But we will see. That's just at the minute. That's my burning question: is how on earth did they take these 27 planets, and how on earth did nobody do anything about it sooner? If this has been happening for like centuries, you know, I mean, they could say even a line from Dallas like, yes, we've been taking, or, you know, we've been working on this plan for like, you know, thousands of years. You know, we've been hatching this plan. Say Dalek Khan, when Dalek Khan rescued us, we actually travel back in time 2,000 years. And since then, we've been gathering 27 planets every 200 years or something like that. You know, a planet every 200 years is to not raise suspicions. And then
it's like Pennywise coming back every 27 years.
Yeah,
basically.
basically.
A planet.
You know, why not? Because that would at least make more sense that they would take these planets over time, and it was a big build-up. That's why there's so many Daleks. That's why Davros is there. You know, that's why everything's going on. And then, I mean, it would still be very convenient that Earth was the last one to be taken. But if that's going to be the case anyway, then fine. Because, you know, you could argue that they had to leave Earth there because Dalek Khan had to be on Earth to temporal shift back to the Time War.
Yeah.
So you could say that he needed to stay there after create spiral, whatever. But nah, it just happened, didn't it? They just did it. So
just about the Time Wars, you do.
Yeah. Again, maybe it'll get explained a little bit more next week with how they move the planets. I don't really mind that Dalek Khan went through the Time War to get Davros back. I think that's fine. However, it is very much a case of that's impossible, yet it still happened.
And yet he did it.
Yeah. Which I think is very much.
At least it drove him mad. At least there was a consequence to it.
Yeah. I guess
that's better than it just being like, well, I did it, so hooray.
Yeah.
But also that then led him to do the prophecy nonsense I don't like.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. A lot of Doctor Who is the somehow Palpatine returned meme, but with a variety of different things. That's impossible, but they've done it. So it's like, oh, okay, thanks.
Just don't say it's impossible.
Yeah, literally.
Just say, that's unlikely.
I mean,
that's unlikely.
I mean, they do like the whole thing with in the Doctor's Daughter, where it's like, that's impossible. It's not impossible. It's just very unlikely, or whatever it was. I'm like, that's literally the show. That's the show. Just have it be that motto.
Yeah, that's the show. It's a TV show, yeah.
Never mind. Anyway, what are your final negatives?
Okay, so we've talked about that, Technobabble, Subwave Network, Khan, Time War, blah, 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 blah. I actually think we've addressed it all now.
Nice.
And, you know, the fact that the TARDIS was just fine at the start after turn left, which we already talked about last week anyway.
That's what it was. He went in and just went, boop.
Just turn the alarm off and it's fine. But yeah, it's just those extra little things we kind of touched on there, really. Your extra little ones were basically mine. So there you go.
Excellent stuff. Let me just check my notes, see if there's anything else. The Valiant returned, only to be destroyed.
Tie up those loose ends.
I did really like Ianto in this, you know, from his Paula Grady. Oh, it's funny though. Coming up like really close to the camera, like, oh yeah, hi, Ianto here. I was like, Ianto, you don't need to be that close. It's fine.
He's so awkward.
Also, when they were like hacking into all the phones and like getting it, I was like, they're doing a lot of crime here. They've done a lot of crime this episode, from stealing laptops in a shop to, you know, to hacking into phone networks.
Who are you, Piers Morgan?
God, how dare they? But yeah, I mean, I did really like it, and I'm trying really hard not to think too much about the second out of sync thing, because it makes my head hurt. Because then I'm like, why don't you just go a second in the future? Like, that's not how it works. Because you'd only be a second. It would always be the second that's not that second. I'm like, oh god. I was like, it just makes my head hurt. I just accept it. I'm like, yep, sure, fine, whatever. At least you try and explain it, which I'd prefer.
You've done something.
Rather than just say like, oh yeah, they're just hidden with a cloaking beam, which I think would be naff. You know, at least they've like thought about it a little bit.
Yeah. If
not explained it. But yeah, in which case, I think it's fun fact time.
It is. Okay. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so this was the 750th broadcast episode of Doctor Who. So congratulations, Stolineth, for being a landmark. So many of them, and one day we will cover all 750 plus.
There's more now, yeah. God, so much
There's
more.
Many now. This was the last episode of Series 4 to have its title revealed due to the spoilerish nature. I do remember that. I remember being at school, be like, "What's episode 12 called?" They're not telling us, but I guess it's pretty obvious what's going to happen in the opening moments of the Stolen Earth.
The Slovene return.
Yeah. Well, they nearly did.
Oh. I know they nearly did. I know.
Yes, this is the fourth time that the Daleks have returned with a designated leader in the finale of a series. We had the Evil of the Daleks with the Second Doctor, and the Parting of the Ways. They had the Emperor Dalek and then Doomsday with Dalek Sec. And this is the first story with the Supreme Dalek since Remembrance of the Daleks in 1988.
I'm sure he looked just as stylish there.
Yes. And what a return he makes. Despite their major roles in the episode, Bernard Cribbins and Jacqueline King, as Wolf and Sylvia respectively, do not receive the same overflow cast credit treatment following the opening titles, like Eve Miles, Gareth David Bloys, Penelope Wilton, and Adjoa Ando, among others, actually do. So Martha's mum gets a credit after the opening titles. Wilf and Sylvia do not. Good God.
It's just too many people. They just couldn't fit them in.
Yeah, there you go. So if you do know the actresses' names, you knew they were going to be in it. I recognised Penelope Wilton. I was like, oh, Harriet Jones, but I didn't recognise the other name. And then I was like, oh, you, is it? There was originally a scene where the Daleks also landed at Westminster and exterminated the Prime Minister, who would have been a woman called Aubrey Fairchild, but they got rid of it. That would have been just before the Daleks kind of actually exited and started invading the streets.
Although they reused that idea in
Revolution of the Daleks.
Revolution of the Daleks. They do that, don't they? Because they exterminate the woman outside.
Just stands there and takes it. Fair enough.
Yeah. Don't. No. You're fine.
Like, why are you being mean to? They're gonna get. Okay. I love that episode. Anyway, the to be continued with no teaser for the next episode is only the second time the revived series used this method of continuation after Rise of the Cybermen 2 years prior. It's repeated again in The Pandemic Opens, The Almost People, Dark Water, and The Zygon Invasion. No teasers for you.
Did they put one at the end of the credits? I didn't. I turned it off before that. Oh,
no.
What a twist.
That's what this means.
Oh, okay. I thought you just meant to be continued was what they included. Was that? Right?
No.
Interesting.
To be continued and no teaser for the next one.
Nice. Okay.
Scientist and author Richard Dawkins cameos as himself and was at the time of this episode's broadcast married to Lala Ward, who played the Fourth Doctor companion Romana II, and is also, she's also the ex-wife of Tom Baker. Good old Lala. So there you go. I've been watching their stuff recently. They're a very good pair on Doctor Who. Shame it didn't work out. But there you go. Watch season 17, folks. The original broadcast on the Sci-Fi Channel had to cut out scenes from the episode to fit in time for commercials because they didn't get a big enough slot, which would have been aggravating. I don't know what they cut, but I'd be interested in finding out. Exactly
Martha's teleport.
Probably Martha's stupid subplot. Anyway, the resolution of the bees disappearing running joke is inspired by the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy plotline, where dolphins also leave Earth, having sensed its impending doom. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy author Douglas Adams had also served as a writer and script editor on Doctor Who in the classic series. So there you go. It always comes back to Doctor Who. Always.
Or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, looking at that one.
Or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, yes, that's true. The shot of the TARDIS flying towards the Shadow Proclamation is reused footage from the Parting of the Ways. Where
no way.
Missiles. Who would have thought?
They always use that footage.
Doctor Who, saving budget.
Pretty sure they use that in the 50th, don't they?
No.
Oh, they always use it in the 50th.
They use it for a lot of things. Why not? You've got the footage. The scenes in the Shadow Proclamation were originally meant to include many new and old aliens, but had to be cut for budget and timing reasons. Appearances would have included Raktakolka Falabatorians with the baby Margaret Sardine. Annette Badland had even recorded her lines for the cameo, but it was ultimately cut. Boo.
Poor effort.
A 15-foot adult adipose with a few of the baby ones, which is nice. So it's literally just the same appearance as a baby, but big. Huge. Scholars of the University of Rago 56 Rago from the End of the World, which are the people with like those big like hoods. And they look like gas masks, basically.
Yes.
Crittertanes, a Vesperform, Hath, the Gelf, Cybermen, Cigarettes, Grask, a Hoix, the Isolus, thank God for that. Crotons, which was a species from the classic series.
That's the thing you get at the Pizza Hut in their salad bar, crotons.
Chelonians, which is a race from a comic book run, so they would have made their first live-action debut, but I guess it cost too much to actually make them. And a new race of two-headed creatures that, again, we didn't get to see. Midshipman Alonzo Frame would have also had appeared working as a soldier for the Shadow Proclamation. Russell T Davies just fancied him so much he was desperate to get him back, and eventually he bangs Captain Jack. So all is well.
Yay.
Now, are you ready for this revelation? there were originally plans to bring back Clive Swift as Mr. Copper in Harriet's place in this episode, until Clive Swift's controversial interview in Doctor Who magazine, where he insulted the interviewer, the Doctor Who fandom, and terminated the interview early.
Oh, you know what? That is an excellent interview. I still highly recommend people search it out.
It's absolutely hilarious, and it's the reason why he didn't get another paid job. But I'm sure he's fine with that. The Doctor speculating how someone had tried to move the Earth once before was a reference to the Daleks' plans in the Dalek invasion of Earth, the second Dalek story. And then finally, while the return of Davros had been heavily rumoured months in advance, other rumours surrounding him were ultimately proved untrue. I remember seeing this one going around when Series 4 was airing. The most popular theory was that Donna would be revealed as being Davros in disguise. And alternatively, that Dalek Khan had ultimately mutated himself into Davros.
Close though. I mean, they probably could have got. I mean, that might have come out because Dalek Khan is like a half. He's only got the base and the Squid Man at the top. So maybe people thought that was Davros.
When he appeared, they're like, "Oh my god, it's happening! It's happening!"
Yeah.
And then he was just a separate person. But you know, it's fine. So yeah, those are your fun facts, folks.
Very nice. I did think, and I always think this is that the Davros reveal, while good, like it feels like they're trying to make him in the dark to reveal him. But then he's just not dark enough because you can easily see him, especially with my with the brightness on my like PlayStation like turned up. I'm like, oh yeah, I can see him. Maybe you know, maybe TVs at that time when they weren't as HD, it probably did look a bit darker and it's probably harder to see him. But
and he'd been on the Radio Times covers and everything anyway. I don't know why they tried to hide these things, but it's fine, whatever.
God, the BBC trying to do a big reveal and then botching the reveal. Who would have guessed?
Who would have guessed it?
Oh God, I'm going to cry when we reach that.
2 episodes into the return of the show and they announced Chris Ferguson's only doing 1 year. Well done, BBC.
Nice, good job. That's why I partly don't want them to reveal who like the next Doctor is or that the Doctor's leaving, just because it would just be great to have it.
Just like, to prove they could do it.
Yeah. But that time's gone. Yeah, if they wanted to do that, they needed to do it with Matt Smith at the very latest.
Yeah, pre-Twitter.
But they did a whole show for Peter Capaldi, so never mind.
Yeah.
But yes.
I was out at a family dinner when that was airing. I was like, I want to know who it is.
But instead for Jodie, they gave her a slot before the tennis.
It was something like that, wasn't it? It was like a sport thing.
Yeah.
So, I remember that.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, to be fair, I was watching the tennis anyway. So I'd have caught it. Imagine if they hadn't announced that they were revealing it.
Well, that's it. That's also what I wouldn't mind is, you know, that you have to watch it.
Was it something I remember Gary Lineker like introduced it. So maybe it was
the FA Cup then. I know it was during
because he could not have sounded less interested.
Yeah,
I remember that. It's like exciting times for Doctor Who. Anyway,
football. But yeah, never mind. Well, that leaves one thing left to do this week, and that is give the episode a rating out of 10. What are you going to give it?
Against all odds, and now I've probably come across, I'm giving it an 8.5. I had a really good time with it.
Very nice. I am giving it a 9.
Nice.
Because I just really enjoy it. I just think maybe it's the nostalgia playing a part, but I just really like everyone being back and the setup, the Daleks, the Supreme Dalek, Davros, all the drama, it's just pure sci-fi. It feels like a pure celebration of the show up to this point. And I really like it when Doctor Who's like this, when it's very referential and there's loads of little Easter eggs and nostalgia. And I know that's not how the show should be run because people want to see the new stuff, but then at the same time, people want to see the old stuff. So
they can't.
Never mind.
Just do anything.
But either way, I really love this episode, and hopefully next week will be good. Next week is Journey's End, this full series finale, which will see the resolution. Did the Doctor regenerate? Spoiler, no. David Tennant still has 5 episodes after the finale.
Yeah, he's all happy. Like, look at me, man. Just you wait, mate.
Yep,
much
not long left.
You bought yourself another year. Congratulations.
Not even a full year. Just four. Not even that. 3 episodes in the next year. Well in.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, everything has to be solved. Daleks have to be stopped. Prophecies need to be fulfilled. People need to be returned to their right and proper locations, and set up for the future that eventually doesn't happen, because I don't know why Martha and Mickey weren't in Torchwood Children of Earth, but they weren't.
Scheduling conflicts.
Oh, well, there you go. Goddamn scheduling conflicts all the time.
God damn it.
But
God damn it, I can still just about watch Children of Earth.
But yeah, I think for me, next week is hopefully going to be just as good as this week's. I remember liking both of these parts equally. However, I do think there's probably more to be frustrated about in next week, especially with maybe some characters getting left behind and having less to do.
Yeah, that's my big concern.
Because I don't think we get much Sylvia and Wilf in this, do we? Except for like maybe right at the end, and when we say yay, we're back, yay. That's about it. I think that's the extent of their involvement. But never mind. What do you think what do you think your thoughts will be for next week?
I'm excited to see how it all plays out. I know Donna's ending is incredibly sad. Wilf will make me cry in his little speech in the rain at the end. The Doctor's all sad.
That classic gif.
Yeah. It'd be cool to see if there's any like companion interactions and stuff that I've kind of forgotten. So we'll see where that goes. I just remember them all being like trapped in like spotlights for most of the episodes.
pushing Sarah Jane off Jack to hug him.
Yes, iconic. And everyone piling the TARDIS. Yeah. Of course, we're going to have David Tennant doubled in the next one. And yeah, Rose ends up with somebody who's also half Donna, which they kind of gloss over. So they'd probably break up after 2 weeks.
Well, what was it that in that Target book? Wasn't one of the short stories in there just about the two of them, and it wasn't very good. It was like terrible. So if you've got the Target, it's like short stories collection.
If you like that ending for them, don't read anything more. Just pretend everything's fine.
Yeah, just maybe read Empire of the Wolf or whatever it is that comic series is coming out.
Yeah, when Rose has probably killed him or something.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I am excited to see how it all kind of unfolds and see a bit more Davros, because I always enjoyed Davros. And yeah, I am hopeful we're going to get some good moments. There is a lot I know I'm frustrated with about it, but that's Doctor Who, baby. That's the fandom, baby. So yeah, hopefully it's at least a decent resolution to this story and series 4 as a whole, because I do think this back half of season 4 has been incredibly strong. So hopefully it kind of continues with that kind of stead as we then head into
the specials.
Christmas.
The specials, yes. I think it's now going to be
the specials,
because they didn't want to call it series 5, which is fair enough.
No, and of course, when Doctor Who does specials for a year and it's not David Tennant, the show's failing.
Yeah, definitely. How dare they? But yes, we are definitely hurtling towards the end of David Tennant's run. We'll soon be on Matt Smith, literally probably next month ish, just after, into May. Absolutely.
My boy.
I haven't seen Matt Smith's episode in so long. I'm very excited to get into them. But we do have to bid farewell to all of our lovely Russell T Davies companions soon, and David Tennant.
I was going to say, there's a lot of last appearances for them next week, but then I remember in the time, I'm like, oh no, we have a cameo.
Yes, exactly. We're not yet quite at the end of their runs. But
it's our last appearance of K9 on Doctor Who thus far.
Oh my god! Oh,
time to bring K9 back.
They're making that movie, remember?
Oh yeah, versus Omega. That's definitely going to happen.
That's definitely happening.
That definitely hasn't been quietly cancelled.
That's probably why they've not been able to use K9, because they've constantly like, we're doing this movie, we're doing it. And
I promise we're doing it.
They've just never done it. Google that if you want. Google K9 movie, and it's supposed to come out this year. I think it was, or last year. It's something stupid.
It's probably like 6 years ago by now.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it from us this week. The internet looked like it did all right, so
that wasn't too bad.
We will end it now before things do go terribly. But yeah, that's it. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.